What's up, CineNerds? I'm JP Cross.
And I'm Ryan Newhouse. That was still kind of a question mark, but it's better. It's definitely better, JP.
I was trying to be exciting with my question mark.
It was an exciting question mark. Yeah, a question mark followed by the exclamation point. I got you. Outstanding.
So, so today, if you look to my left here, right over here, it's normally below me, but today it's to my left. If you're watching on YouTube, CineNerdsPodcast.com, and if you go on there, all of our there's links to all of our previous 120 episodes or whatever we're at now, and but also on top of that, this is something I don't talk about much. We talk about it, but not like this. If you on every page on our website, like at close to the top or pretty much at the top, you'll see little images for all of our socials, for TikTok, for Instagram, for Facebook, for YouTube. All those are on there. You can click those and you can follow us on all those social media apps, and and get our content from there, get updates from there, and obviously follow us on YouTube, and obviously follow us on Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever, Amazon, whatever podcast app you're using. Share it, and leave a comment, write a review. But I wanted to throw that out there because there are we do have all these socials out there that you can follow, and I do have them very easily linked right there on the CineNerdsPodcast.com.
Right there.
Right there.
Love it. What do we pick for this episode, JP?
Well, you had reached out to me and said something about doing a top 5 anime series, and I agreed. And I think there was a little confusion at first because we were like, well, top 5 animes, but I wanted to be specific. Top 5 anime films.
Well,
Not
that's
series.
why before
films.
you even said anything, I reached out and I was like,
Yeah.
"Are we doing films or are we doing series?" Because there's just so much to cover in the animation world that
Mm-hmm.
you would go forever. So,
Yeah.
and
And that's why when you reached back out, I was like, no, let's do films, because if we throw series in there, we try to do it all at once, it's too much. Like I'd want to do series separate and film separate, and because they're two different entities.
yes and no, because a lot of these series become movies, and there are quality movies. And one of my top 5 list is a movie, but it's from a series, so I understand.
Some,
Um,
yes, some. I
some,
will s-
yeah,
I will say my top 5 list. There's only one that actually has a series. But yes, you are correct. I mean, there's multiple series that have films. Even everything from One Piece to Dragon Ball Z to Pokemon to pretty most of all the big ones, but most of all the big series have films.
Um, one of the big reasons for me pushing towards this too on my side was because throughout our 120 some episodes, we really got to figure out that number. I forgot the number, but anyways, throughout all of that, we constantly always come back in the comments when we're talking to you guys on Thursdays, and we start talking about anime, or if we bring it up on the show, or we do a recommendation with anime, and people always are like, "Ooh, I like that one. You guys should do anime." So we just decided to throw a little wrench in the spokes and change it up a little and dig in.
Yeah, and we've never actually covered or reviewed an anime film on this show. So we're going to have
Truth.
to change. I think we're going to have to change that sometime in the future. There's some really great films out there that we probably need to cover, and there's a lot out there that I've not watched. I'll be honest with you. So um, we'll just do kind of a quick initial impressions, even though it's not like on one film. Let's just kind of a overall, if you want to. I I grew up on anime. Like, I was an '80s anime guy and '80s and '90s anime guy. Like, I literally was that kid in school that loved anime and got made fun of in the '90s. Because back then it wasn't cool to be a fan of anime, like it is now. Kids now, like, oh, you're into anime? Oh, you're awesome. Back then, you got made fun of. And so I was one of those kids that got made fun of. And I grew up
Oh,
on I grew up on the '80s anime. I loved it, and I loved the '90s animes, and so um, that being said, uh, a lot of the stuff I watched was very inappropriate, very inappropriate for somebody somebody my age, because it wasn't Pokemon I was watching, and
You
but
gotta catch them all.
yeah,
Ah,
um, but a lot of people back then, especially once Pokemon got popular in the '90s, people were like, "Oh, you like anime? Oh, you're a Pokemon fan." Well, no, I wasn't a Pokemon fan. Now, later in life, I became a Pokemon fan, but that was because of the games more so. I didn't really watch the cartoon, but that was more because of the games. But you fast forward into some of the like 2000s, like I fell off of anime a bit in the 2000s, but I watched some of them as well because my son was young, and once he kind of got a little older in the later 2000s, I got him interested in Dragon Ball Z. Was the one that really interested him, and then my son is obsessed with anime now. Like he reads all the manga. He has a huge bookcase just full of the manga books that he reads and has read, and he follows like all the current series and movies that come out. He's so far like he'll try to talk to me about stuff now, and I'm like, dude,
so
I'm clueless.
Ju-
I'm clueless.
Justice and I each have our own Crunchyroll sub, and I was pissed because he has access to all of my streaming platforms, and he wouldn't let me watch his Crunchyroll. So I finally got my own, and he's like, "Hey, I don't have mine going right now. Can I watch JJK season 3?" And I'm like, "No, no, motherfucker, you can't. You want to pull that shit up me? I got you."
Well, and and what was cool though, but I fell off of it for a number of years there, and once my son got into high school, and he was still living with, he moved back to North Carolina now, but when he was still in Ohio with me, when he was in high school, we would sit. He was like, "Oh, you've not seen this? I want you to watch this with me. I want you to watch this with me." And so he was introducing me to some of this newer stuff, and some of the stuff I had already jumped on. Like I had jumped on Attack on Titan, I had jumped on One Punch Man, and some of that stuff. But like he came in and introduced me to like My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre, and some of this other stuff that was coming out in like the mid and later 2010s, and so he got me a little more current. But once he moved out, now I've fallen off of it again, um, so I don't know what's current other than I know like was it the Demon Hunter's real popular right now or whatever it's
Demon
called.
Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Thank you. And I've not watched it, so yeah, get mad at me for saying it wrong. I've not watched it because I
I'm
could
not
just
getting mad.
like no, I'm just telling people in general. I fucked it up because I just said I'm not staying real current with the stuff that's coming out right now.
Yeah, no, Justice and I, it was so funny. It's kind of like, I, when late 90s came around, that was when you and I were like coming home from school or in the morning before we went to school, we'd catch, what was it?
Toonami.
Toonami, and they're
Yep.
showing the Dragon Ball Z, and we were waiting a week at a time for these episodes, and because these had just been translated, and we just were getting the sub versions finally, or the dub version, sorry, and so that was kind of cool because I watched those all the way through into Dragon Ball Super and GT and all that stuff. And but as those things happened, my son was born in 2004, and we started watching some of these things together. As he started getting a little older, and that would kind of forge that with us too. He watched JoJo's Bizarre too. I couldn't cross the line with that, but I love One Piece. I like Demon Slayer. I like Bleach. Bleach is probably one of my favorites. So him and I have bonded over a lot of this stuff. So
Did did did
definitely
did
cool.
you watch My Hero Academia?
I did not. I have not watched that one yet.
I enjoyed My Hero Academia, and I feel like if you're a DBZ fan, then you're probably going to have some fun with My Hero Academia.
So here's the thing with that one. So Justice challenged me to watch the Naruto series, and I watched all of it. He didn't think I did. And he's like, you watched the entire series? I'm like, I've been just rolling that through. That's all I watched for like 2 months straight. And he was blown away by it. And so then he told me about My Hero, and like I already knew about My Hero, but it was everywhere. It's kind of it's like the most commercial mainstream one I would say right now besides One Piece.
It
And
is.
it yeah, and so it has that and like JoJo and some of those that have more of a bubble gum aspect. I kind of lean away from, but I mean, My Hero's definitely piqued my interest a few times.
Yeah, it's very bubblegum, but like All Might is voiced by Chris Sabat, who voices Vegeta. So like there's some of those voice actors that have carried over from DBZ into My Hero Academia, and it is silly, more commercial, but it's fun. And I love silliness. Look at my film style that I like. So like it,
You don't say.
it it's 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 dumb fun. It has some dumb fun in it. Yeah. No different than
Yeah.
One Punch Man. One Punch Man has the same.
So this is so a lot of this is crazy to me. So to me, like when I said I want to do the anime episode, like I already see JP's got the Star Wars anime up there. So
I did that for you.
well, I'm happy you did that, and that's great. But I don't. So to me, I was going like I kind of went to my roots with this one, with the exception of one. One of these is not in my roots. It's newer, but it blew me away when I saw it in the theater. And so like I'm going into like Japanimation, not animation so much, but Japanimation. So I'm definitely I don't know if that's even the correct thing to say anymore. I think they're just calling it animation because of whatever. But to me, culturally, Japanimation started in Japan, so that's why I call it that. And I got to give respect to him because some of these old school animes before we got into the AI and the modern digital age and everything became digitalized, these people were hand drawing all of this and they were putting on slide by slide, still by still, and putting all this love, craft, and dedication to this. It's just a beautiful, beautiful cinematography. I love it.
And I love that you say that because, one thing I read years ago was, and to add to this, it's going to coincide with this. Ryan and I decided to omit Akira from this list because we knew that both of us would probably pick that as our number one. So Akira is not on the list.
Because yeah, we both kind of agreed that would have been number one, and I even took out Spirited Away. I
So
omitted that one because that one deserves a spot too, but I was like, that's too easy.
yeah. So, but talking about Akira, so now Akira is not going to be in our top five for obvious reasons because we both would have picked it as our number one. But talk about Akira for a minute, and talk about everything being hand drawn and the animation style and whatnot. So when Akira came out in the '80s, it changed things. Like because it
In a
was
big way.
in a big way. Like because everything was hand drawn and it was so beautifully done. It's to this day that movie will hold up to anything that they're even doing today by today's standards. It was how beautiful that film was and how much love and care was put into the animation of that film. So you go back to when that came out though. That film was so beautifully done, and I read this in an article years and years and years ago that Disney actually went to their animators and said, "We have to change. We have to change how we're doing our animation and what we're doing because what they just did in Japan is better than anything we've ever done, and we need to be ahead of the curve." And so,
I,
because of Akira, pushed Disney to move on to change how they animated to try to make themselves better.
I have an amazing quote I'm going to read you when I tell you about number five regarding Disney and what Disney tried to do. So yeah, when we get there, I'll definitely
Okay.
dig in. But yeah, Disney's been trying to jock on it forever. And I will say this: Disney has come in clutch with some of their animation and some of the things they put out there. I definitely am not gonna, especially, and I know he put the animated part up there, but the Star Wars Visions. I was even just telling our guest host Tiff about that the other day. Um, the level what they do is great. Now that being said, they still aren't going to ever get it to where it was, in my opinion, for what Japanime did, because now it's just too easy. Like now, if I give a whole spiel into a computer, talk to an AI model, I can basically talk them in, tell them the storyline, tell them the template, tell them about the characters, put all these prompts in there, and it'll make an animation for me. And I don't. I,
Mm-hmm.
there's no art to that anymore. Whereas some of the movies I'm about to talk about on this list, there's beauty and art and detail and oh, it's just so amazing.
All right. So we will get this started. You want to go first? Or me go first? You want rock, paper, scissors?
Let's rock, paper, scissors. We haven't done it in a minute.
I'm closing
Rock,
my eyes. Rock,
rock,
paper.
paper, scissors, shoot.
I can't see what you did. I
We
did.
both put we both put paper up. Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Oh, tomo elegato, Mr. Robot. Anyways, okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
With both scissors.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. There
uh,
you go. You won.
I'll let you go first.
All right. My number 5 is a little movie from 1984 called Nausicaa. It's Nausicaa, and it's Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I had to make sure I said that right 'cause it's a long title. And the reason why this one's so meaningful to me is because it was it's just stunning and it's beautiful and it's got a sci-fi element. It's a post-apocalyptic animation. Again, 84. I was 6 when this came out. 5, actually 5. Sorry, math, Ryan. And so I saw it obviously later in the 80s, and I just was blown away at this. It just took all the wind out of the sails of whatever I thought Saturday morning cartoons meant. Because I saw this is the first anime I saw, and so this is a Hayao Miyazaki film. Now you should know that name because he is essentially when this movie got made, it was made by a company called Topcraft Studio. Topcraft becomes Studio Ghibli, however you want to say it. And so this is basically what gave them the foundations to build that studio with this movie, and it's awesome because it's this Princess Nausicaa. It's again post-apocalyptic. It's kind of nature versus humanity. It shows the consequences of war, how the world recovers. It's just a beautiful film. But most importantly, I want to read the quote. This is the one was talking about JP because this quote is pretty intense. Here we go. It says when Nausicaa was first released as an English dub in the U.S. in 1985, it was drastically cut down to 1 hour and 35 minutes, entitled Warriors of the Wind in the U.S. Writer and director Hayao Miyazaki was still so upset by the what a new word for Ryan truncated Warriors of the Wind version of Nausicaa that when Harvey Weinstein approached him to discuss the distribution to his follow-up film Princess Mononoke, Mononoke. Come on,
Monoki.
right? Yes, and insisted on a similar heavily cut version of the movie. Miyazaki angrily left the meeting. Several days later, Studio Ghibli producer Toshio Suzuki sent a katana sword to Weinstein's office with no cuts embedded into the blade. The movie was later released in the US in its uncut version. During a later interview, Miyazaki commented on the incident by smiling and stating, I defeated him. Nausicaa was the only film to suffer heavy editing on first release. In 1995, the U.S. rights returned to Miyazaki and he made a distribution deal with Disney. In 2003, a new English dub with Patrick Stewart and Uma Thurman was released in the uncut 117-minute version. So I love that he just went toe to toe with a pig like Harvey Weinstein and just
Yeah.
fucked him up. I mean, a katana sword with no cuts on it. Fuck yeah. Dude, that is so ballsy.
That is amazing. I've never heard that story, but that is amazing.
Like that just made me like I just found that out when I was looking up stuff with this movie, but like when I read that, it made me love and have a passion for this movie even more than I already did. So that's just beautiful to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I never heard that story, but that's absolutely amazing, and especially with his follow. I mean, if Princess Mononoke had been chopped up, what a piece of shit that film would have been. Because Princess Mononoke is such a fucking fabulous film, and
Miyazaki was like livid. He was adamant the rest of his career about no one touching his films.
I literally I've rewatched Princess Mononoke in the theater. I think it was last year because it seems like they do a re-release of it every year in the theater almost.
Phoenix theaters, I don't know about other theaters, but Phoenix theaters specifically has been amazing about releasing these animes in the theater and getting to see some of these that I didn't have the chance to see when I was a kid on the big screen has just been heavenly.
Yeah.
Heavenly.
Well, I know. I think it was AMC. It's been like almost every year. I swear they've done all of his films. So like they've done Princess Mononoke, they've done Spirited Away, they've done like all of his films and all those studio films, as like special events at AMC theaters, and think it's been more in the summertime. So I don't know if they're doing it this year, but I swear they've done it for like the past few years at least.
Yeah, so Phoenix, one of my movies on my list, it's because I went to Phoenix theaters to see it, and when
Yeah.
I got to see it in the theater, it like I had an appreciation for it before, but seeing it in the theater the way that I saw it was just oh, exquisite.
So my number five is super predictable, super ordinary, and I don't give a fuck because I have the motherfuckers tattooed on my fucking arm. I have a half sleeve of these motherfuckers, so they're going to make my top five list in one film. Dragon Ball Z Broly, and I don't care which Broly. I don't care if it's the Dragon Ball Z Broly. I don't care if it's Dragon Ball Z Bio Broly. I don't care if it's Dragon Ball Super Broly. All those fucking Broly movies, and even especially the Super. Let's be honest, the DBZ Super Broly, uh, that film is incredible. Jesus fucking Christ! But all these fucking Broly movies are fucking amazing in the fight sequences with between Vegeta, Goku, and Broly in all of these, whether it's the original Broly, the Bio Broly, or the Dragon Ball Super version Broly film. He is such a beast. He is just he's like the fucking Hulk. He's a Super Saiyan Incredible Hulk. Jesus fucking Christ. These fights these movies are literally just an hour and a half fight scene. It's all it is.
I'm disturbed that this is the same amount of passion you had for Queer Wolf. Ah, anyways, no, that's Broly's awesome. And you know what I just realized as you were talking about that? Like one of the biggest things that always pissed me off for Dragon Ball Z when we would watch it week to week was like you were like waiting for that episode to play. It would play, and you really only got 15 minutes of an episode because it
Mm-hmm.
was like intro, recap, commercials, you see the what you're gonna see, and then it was that basically it ends on a cliffhanger, and you're like, oh, this fucking sucks. So 15 minutes goes by, and you're like, well, that was it. That
Mm-hmm.
sucked. And so now that I have Crunchyroll, I can just roll through this shit. I don't got to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Adulting,
Yeah.
adulting.
Yeah, and I decided I was like, I'm going to put a Dragon Ball Z film on this top five list. I had to, and but my thing was what do I put down because there's a lot of those films that I generally love, and but I landed on Broly, and I could really just say any of the Broly films, and really specifically the original Broly or the new Broly film. Um, but there's so many good ones. Like I love the Tree of Might. I love World's Strongest. I love those early ones, and even the stuff like Lord Slug. And there's I don't remember how many Dragon Ball Z movies there are. There's got to be like 20,
There's a lot.
25. There's a lot of them out there, um, and but all of them are kind of good in their own way. Even the last one, Dragon Ball Superhero or whatever it was called,
What
that one was solid.
what's the newest Dragon Ball? I haven't seen any of that.
Dragon Ball Super.
No, it's after Super. There's another one after Super, isn't there? They just
Hmm.
started putting it out.
Oh, maybe they've if they started putting some. Like I said, I've not stayed current with anything the past couple of years. So
Yeah, because I think Super ended at the tournament. So I think this is a
well,
new.
they just well, I mean, a few couple of years ago they put out Dragon Ball Superhero, which was the movie. It's called Dragon Ball Super. Superhero was the name of the movie, but it's that was the last one I watched. So if there's anything new after that, but that was still part of the Super.
Yeah, I haven't seen Superhero, but the I saw the series for Super. I hadn't seen Superhero, and so I believe there's something else new. It's either I just heard about this. It's either already in rotation across seas, and we haven't gotten the dubbed yet, but I'm pretty positive there's new.
Okay, that
Might be wrong.
probably is. Probably is. I know there was some stuff that was being planned, and then Akira died, and but I think there was what I remember reading after that. There was still plans of continuing, and I think that they have been, or maybe they were working on it. But I didn't. I haven't stayed current in the past couple of years since Superhero came out. But if you've not seen Superhero, I highly recommend go back and watch that because that's a great movie, and it goes back to more Gohan and Piccolo.
I think that was where I think that so Gohan is the part that bothers me about Super. Like he's still badass, but like Man, did he fall off. I thought he was going to surpass Goku, and it just never happened.
Yeah, go give that one a shot though, because it's a fun one for sure.
All right. Well, we're on to number four. For me, number four is 1995's Ghost in the Shell. This is the OG film. And this movie, I can't even begin to express the beauty that I felt while I watched this movie. This movie had this amazing, and I'll preface this too. This movie inspired and influenced The Matrix, just so everyone knows. So the digitalized aspect, the world of robots and the way things happen are is just done so beautifully. And when you're watching this animation, this was one where the animators left no stone unturned. They made sure that every little detail of a shadow, the way that when Ghost in the Shell, when she, sorry, I'm blanking on her name, but even when she turns invisible and does the chameleon thing, you still see the shadows going through her perfectly. You still see all the attention to detail. And again, remember, this is hand drawn. This was during the time when it mattered and it was done and it was attention to detail and it was beauty. Not to mention, take the beautiful aspects aside. What a fucking story. You've got this beautiful, amazing robot with a humanized intellect and trying to find her soul in the process, and all the enemies she encounters along the way help build towards that goal where she feels like she's becoming something more. And I don't know, it's just the way that it unfolds, the way that it builds, it just always stayed with me. I always think very well of this movie.
And yeah, I love Ghost in the Shell, and did not make my top five. It was my honorable mention. It made my honorable mentions, and only because I mean, I think every top five list probably should have Ghost in the Shell in it as for an anime film. I left it off for mainly reasons of films that I just personally enjoy more, but I know that Ghost in the Shell is a better film.
Fair.
So
No, that's like I said, that probably is one of those ones I could have left off in a heartbeat too, because it's obvious for me, not everyone else. But I felt I needed to give it the respect it deserved for the way that they paid attention to that detail, if nothing else.
yeah.
But Spirited Away and Akira, those are not on my list for obvious reasons.
So
None of that shit. No yawning. I
been a
am not
long day.
sponsored. I am not sponsored by Ghost, but do you need one of these, JP?
You want my heart to explode?
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. Don't do that.
I've not had really any caffeine today. I've been drinking cranberry juice because I've not been feeling well still, and so yeah. Um,
Makes sense.
so my number four, and I consider this an anime. I mean, it come from Japan, so it's an anime. I love this film, and very specifically, I'm gonna actually before I say the title, the extended version of this, Final Fantasy Advent Children.
Okay.
Um, as a massive Final Fantasy fan, and very specifically a Final Fantasy VII fan, Advent Children continued the story after Final Fantasy VII, and me being such a big fan of that game and being such a big impact of my gaming experience in the '90s when Final Fantasy VII came out, and falling in love with Cloud and Seth Roth and all these characters, and seeing them all come back together on screen together. And yeah, and now we're getting Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth or whatnot. Um, but when this film came out,
Platinumed it.
do what?
I platinumed seven, the
Oh,
remake.
did you? Did you?
Oh yeah, is that good?
Yeah, it's great. And but when this came out, it was like we didn't have anything else to follow up Final Fantasy VII, so this was our follow up. And I love this extended version. Now, the original theatrical version is okay, but man, this extended version of Advent Children is incredible. And it puts Cloud back face to face with Seth Roth. And dude, when Seth Roth emerges in this, it is so epic. The music in this, the music, that is what sets this movie apart for me. Is like the build up with the music, and and everything is so epic in this film that and the fight sequences are so good. Like, yeah, this is a lot of this is all like computer generated, animated, but it's so beautifully done, and it's just so iconic for me as a fan of this series that like I had to put it at my number 4 because it is one of my favorite films to go to because I'm just such a fan of that game.
Listen, I have nothing wrong with digitally created animation. I think there's still something to be said about that, especially if the right story's there. I always want to give more credit to the ones that put in the hand drawn work and put in those attention to detail without all that, because like it's kind of like it's like these new editor softwares for
Hmm.
authors. Like you just you plug in your shit and it corrects it all, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what all they have to do now. So, but even when Advent Children was made, it's still in that gray area, so that's they still had to pay attention to these things.
Hmm.
So I do think that that's a solid flick, and I think it's a solid choice.
You're number 3.
I'm sipping a beverage. All right. So earlier I discussed how I had one on my list that is part of a series that I still love the movie. And I also talked about how I went to the Phoenix theaters recently to see this movie and it blew my fucking mind. Excuse my language, but it did. This is Demon Slayer and the Infinite Castle. And if you're a Harry Potter fan and you appreciate the staircases, how they all change and they're never the same and they're always moving, imagine a demon world where that's what's happening and it just keeps changing. It seems like you're never finding the end. Infinity Castle kind of did that, and our Demon Slayer heroes, they've already gone through their seasons, and so these movies are interjected in between, and they find themselves in this area, and the way that the scenery and imagery is moving in the background. I know I've talked about all the hand drawn beauty. It definitely has digital components, you can tell, but it is so good. And what makes it even better is the story as it goes. And Demon Slayer is one of the more modern series that I love. It follows the formula. And I always talk about formulas in movies, and there's a very profound formula that makes animation work. And it's you have a hero, you have his rise to power. He can either become more than he normally is and become something, superior, or he can stay the same and find ways to make himself better. But usually there's some kind of formula like that, and it's always the good versus evil. This series is one of those newer series that I jumped into because it does just that. It literally follows the formula to a T with good story, restructuring. His family is essentially killed by demons, and his sister is turned into a demon, but she won't react to him. She doesn't try and kill him, and he can control her. So most of their adventures through the seasons is him carrying his sister around in a box so she doesn't kill anyone with a thing in her mouth. Because if she consumes a human, that's when she fully turns to a demon, and he doesn't want that to happen. He wants to try and cure her before it happens. So this is just an amazing series. This movie was like an icing on the cake for where we're at with it now, and I can't wait for the sequel.
And again, at the beginning of this episode, I said I have not watched any of this, but I have heard nothing but good things about this series. And even my son, he has mentioned this to me, and with the movies and whatnot in the series, and so it's one that at some point I would actually like to visit this one, because I keep hearing so much about it.
I would say for me, and they're very similar in the way that they're all structured and their art and everything, but I would say Demon Slayer, Bleach, Chainsaw Man, and JJK are probably my top four out of the modern era of anime recently. And there's so many more, so but I
Are they
digress.
doing new episodes of Bleach?
Uh I don't know. I'm creeping up on the end well, I'm at the end of season 24, I think. I've got two more seasons to go, so I don't know if they're adding more to that. But the movies all came out, and they just put out the Thousand Year Blood War movie. So I don't know where it ends because I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. So my number 3 is actually somewhat newer. It's been within the past probably 10 years. Um, And this is one that I watched solely because of Attack on Titan, because the creators of Attack on Titan did a film, an anime film, and it was called Empire of Corpses. Did you ever see this one?
I did not.
So I watched this one on a fluke, and just like I said, solely based on it was done by a lot of the same people that worked on Attack on Titan at the time. And Attack it was when Attack on Titan was kind of really kind of at its biggest. In the mid 2010s, later 2010s, and I was really into Attack on Titan at the time. Like I was a huge fan of Attack on Titan. So when I saw this and I was like, oh, it's done by the same studio, same a lot of the same creators. I got to check this out. And so I actually bought it and watched it kind of blindly. Went into this movie blind, knew very little to nothing about it. And by the time I got to the end of this film, I realized what I was watching was fucking amazing and genius, kind of. And so the title is about an empire of corpses. So that basically, the dead are walking around. Um, but by the time you figure out what kind of movie you're in, you realize you're in a Neo Tokyo sequel to Frankenstein,
Interesting.
and the Frankenstein monster is there, and it's everything that Dr. Frankenstein did to create the Frankenstein monster is what's happening to revive these corpses. They're taking his technology. It's essentially an animated direct sequel of Frankenstein. And as a classic monster fan, a fan of Attack on Titan, a fan of that style, I fell in love with this story, and I was just like, this is like one of the best anime movies I have seen in years. And it's a newer film, and I just absolutely fell in love with this fucking film for that. And like I said, as a classic monster fan, it was even more so for me.
I just wrote it down because I'm going to check it out.
And
I'm gonna,
that one is in my Fandango, so you can scroll all the way to the very bottom because it's one of the early ones in my Fandango.
and because you mentioned it, I got to talk about this. So, Attack on Titan. So, I got through the first season of Attack on Titan, and I never went back. I couldn't get past Levi's fucking whining. The fucking every time he screams or cries, I just get more mad. Um, but I had to reel myself back in because there's another character in one of my favorite movies. It's only an honorable mention, so it's not going to kill anything here. But Evangelion, Neon Genesis, Shinji is pretty much just as bad. He's got
Mm-hmm.
some moments too, but because I talked myself down and out of that, I'm going to go back to Attack on Titan. I'm going to give this the watch it deserves because everyone, including you, have said great things about it, and you even talked to me about the live action. You said the live action wasn't bad either.
I love there's two live action Attack on Titan films. Now they're universally hated. Now, this is the thing, and this is what I tell people. Do not watch the sub version. Watch the English dub because this is those live action films for the Attack on Titans are a prime example of mistranslation. Like because I tried to watch those subbed, and the English dialogue in it is so bad that it almost makes no sense because it's so bad. And I and I and I
No sense.
and I get it because it's like a direct translation from Japanese to English instead of actually translating it and wording things how people in English would word things. And so, like when I tried to watch it, I was like, wow, I'm trying to have fun watch this, but I can't because the dialogue is so bad. So
Yeah,
I went
so
back and so when I went back and watched the English dub of this, they fixed the English dub. They actually fixed the translations, and so it's actually an easier watch, and things make sense, and it made it more fun for me. And because those live action movies, they're shit. I mean, they're bonkers, they're shit, and they're cheesy, but like they do it in a fun way that I actually loved them.
So the One Piece thing we talked about earlier, I have not watched the cartoon series One Piece yet. I have, however, watched the first season. I know the second season just dropped of One Piece live action, and I enjoyed it heavily. And not only that, I enjoyed the Rurouni Kenshin live action. I enjoyed Bleach live action. So I get where people that are loyalists to anime have a problem,
Hmm.
but like for me, I'm just like these are actually fun. These are actually good. I like
Yeah,
them. I don't
yeah.
care.
And that's how the Attack on Titan was. If you watch it and don't compare it to the anime, and you're watching it as a fun, bonkers Japanese film, dude, they're great. I just
I
that's just one I say watch the English dub.
I can't
And
express this enough though. Like what you're saying is spot on. Like people need to unplug, not compare, and just watch movies to for a movie to enjoy it, and you're gonna enjoy it a lot more.
yeah, so we're at your number two, aren't we?
Fuck. All right, so we're cruising along here. Number two. This one is a gem from the '80s. Vampire Hunter D, with the main character being D, which is Dampier, and he is a halfling, and he is pretty amazing. He's this conflicted character who I couldn't love more if I tried. He tried not to fall in love with the woman who's in the movie. He's dealing with a 10,000-year-old vampire that's a nobleman that, and when they're that old, they have incredible powers. So he is forced to try and figure out how to defeat this guy. And the way the movie unfolds isn't just superb, the whole movie holds up now. So like
Mm-hmm.
if you're ever gonna look back at old animation, like there's a movie, what was the movie? The Last Unicorn. The
Mm-hmm.
Last Unicorn had a very old animation vibe to it. It's a solid, beautiful movie, but it's very old. Whereas the Vampire Hunter D, when I put this on, man, I feel like I'm watching a modern movie at certain points. Some of the animations definitely aged, but it just holds up so well with story, with the animation, everything. It's just so good. So Vampire Hunter D, check it out if
Yeah.
you haven't.
And he even has a talking hand.
Yes. There's so many jokes, but I'll leave it alone. But you know what I do love about that? There's a sequence where D is almost done, and he's almost gone, and this hand has become his best friend, his confidant, and this hand is like, "Wake up!" He's like screaming at him, and he like wakes him up. So it's weird because it's a haunted hand with a mouth. It really is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's become his confidant and his best friend. So it's pretty cool the way they tie that in.
All right, so my number two is, and this one's on Tubi. This one finally popped up on Tubi, and this is one that it went really kind of it disappeared for a long time, and they finally did a Blu-ray release like a handful X amount of years ago, and I went on an adventure looking for this Blu-ray release, and because they all went out of print quick, and at the time ended up finding it at a convention, and like people were selling it online for like $200 and this and that, and I ended up finding it at a convention for $20. But now it's available on Tubi. Last time I checked, Wicked City. And did you ever see this one?
Oh, I forgot about Wicked City. That's a great
Yeah,
animation.
yeah. So like, I loved Wicked City. This is one of my favorites growing up, and this is one of the ones I would say, and like, this is a film that I should not have been watching as a young child, but I did. And this film, I mean, it opens with basically this detective um, having sex with this woman, and then it gets done, and all of a sudden she contorts, and she turns into a spider, and like her, the that part, like is the mouth of the spider. Like this
No,
film is bonkers.
I don't know what part, JP.
Yeah,
What could you ever mean?
that part. Yeah, if you're on the YouTube watching the video, that
What are we,
part.
12? The vagina.
um, but yeah, no, this film is bonkers, and it is insane. It is psychotic. It is. I don't know what else to say about it other than watch it. because you're going to leave this film with a completely different experience than any other
Wicked,
anime
yeah,
that you've seen.
Wicked City was great. It's definitely disturbing. It's definitely dark and twisty. It's great. I enjoyed that, and I completely forgot about it until you just said it. This that's the problem. There's just literally so many anime out there
Yeah.
that you can't keep them all straight. So this kind of goes hand in hand with most of our top five lists. I'm sure that JP's the same way. Like this list could probably change at any given moment for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's amazing. Wicked City's solid.
You're number one.
Well, that's anticlimactic, isn't it?
You're number one.
I am. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So this one is one that I will. I've got two really solid longtime friends, Jason Eisner and Chris Schaefer, and like longest friends I've got. And they introduced me to this movie. They made me watch it. Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll. I think everyone that I know personally that likes anime loves Ninja Scroll. It's just an amazing anime. I feel like we got a lot of personally, I feel like this inspired and influenced a lot of the ninja games that we got on our Sega Genesis and things like that later. But Ninja Scroll, the main character is this guy named Jubei, however you want to say it. And he's meant to be a protagonist, but he's not quite a protagonist. He's got this dark and twisty, conflicted side to him. What was more impressive to me about his character, though, is that he wasn't like a Gohan, Goku. He wasn't like Ichigo. He wasn't any of these main character guys. He is a dude who is trained as a ninja, and every battle he fights, he takes real damage and suffers like you any other person would if they got in a fight and does things. And so I like the fact they stuck to that. He's dealing with his inner battle of what's right and what's wrong, where he crosses lines, and the incredible conflict that keeps happening through the movie. Like it's just a solid movie. If you love old school kung fu, if you love old school martial arts movies, if you're into any of the old Japanese film, this anime kind of gives a little bit to all of us in that regard. And it just it's another one of those ones that holds up beautifully, no matter how long ago it was made. I feel like this one just can't do anything wrong.
And I love Ninja Scroll, and it is on my honorable mentions, and for the same reasons, everything you just said. Like it's fantastic. I love Ninja Scroll growing up. So yeah, that one's solid number one.
And it just makes my pants move. So that's good.
But it did not make my top five.
Well,
Just honorable mention. But
that's your fault.
yeah, I mean, again, like Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll. I think most people's top fives. Those are kind of ones that probably should be in there. And there's other honorable mentions that I have that most people's top five, they would be in their top five, you know. So it's all subjective. So um, my number one.
Yeah, what's your number one,
What's my
JP?
number one? So my number one is actually two movies, but part of the same series. Um, same
Did you just
series
pull
of
Ryan?
same series of
I've
movies
got
of
two
you
for
know.
this one.
Well, they coincide with each other, so it's not like two different things. So this one, I even played this. This series even had a horrible PlayStation video game that I played. That the mechanics were so bad that I actually played all the way through because I loved these films so much.
Oh, I know what you're gonna pick. 1,000%
And
know what you're gonna pick.
and so my number one is it follows the vampire named D, Vampire Hunter D, and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, the sequel. So like I love both of these films, and Ryan, I think it was Ryan's number three.
Two.
Two is your number two. So it's my
And I
number
was
one.
wrong. I was 1,000. I thought you were gonna choose Fist of the North Star
No,
because
no,
you said
no.
video games.
Nope. I was not going to choose Fist of the North Star. Vampire Hunter D. And Vampire Hunter D did have a horrible PlayStation game. I don't know if you ever played it, Ryan, but it was
I did not.
awful. Awful. But me and my one of my best friends, we played this game start to finish because we were so obsessed with Vampire Hunter D. We didn't care how bad the game was. We just wanted new Vampire Hunter D content, so we played it start to finish. Um, but yeah, just like Ryan said when he talked about it, Vampire Hunter D, like, uh, just the animation, the music, the style, the attitude of D himself, and his camaraderie with his ghost hand. It's amazing. Then you jump to the sequel with Bloodlust, and the animation is beautifully done again, but they did add some CGI into this. Is when they actually added some CGI. CGI was getting popular, but it didn't look bad. It was early CGI, but it didn't look bad blended with the anime style. And I love in the sequel the chase. Because most of that movie is a chase, and it makes for a little bit more exciting, an exciting story. So like Vampire Hunter D, like for every reason Ryan gave, and if you've never seen the sequel Bloodlust, like just watch both of those back to back. They're just two of the best animes ever made.
I well, I've only watched Lust once, and it was a long time ago. But I will definitely speak to that and agree about Vampire Hunter D, the original.
Yeah. Uh, honorable mentions before we get off here. I don't want to go into any recommendations, but we'll talk about some honorable mentions, and those can be your recommendations.
So, do we want to do one at a time? What do we want to do here?
Uh, we can do one or two at a time.
All right, I'll do a couple then. So right off the rip, because we just talked about Vampire Hunter D, I got to give honorable mention to Helsing or Elcard. I think that's an amazing anime that doesn't get enough respect. It's solid. It's amazing. Elcard is a sadistic and dark and twisty guy, and I'm here for it. And then I just was talking about it too because I thought it was what JP was going towards. Because, like Vampire Hunter D, this one also had a very shitty video game, but Fist of the North Star.
Yeah. So, okay, a lot of my honorable mentions I've already mentioned. So,
Yeah,
you
same
know,
here.
so like, uh, Ninja Scroll already mentioned. That was on my honorable mentions. I have Akira, but we've already talked about Akira. Um, Ghost in the Shell, honorable mention. We already talked about it. So, Princess Mononoke was one of my honorable mentions because Princess Mononoke is such a beautiful fucking film, and I love it. And I talked about it a little bit going to the theater and watching it, but highly recommend it. That's one of my big honorable mentions. If you've never seen Princess Mononoke, go watch that. It's such a beautiful film. And another one that I loved growing up was, and this one's a hard one to find. I'm not even sure if it's available where you could watch it, but it's called Biohunter. And this is another one that I absolutely loved growing
I
up.
think I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, and that one's such a good one too. But it's become kind of obscure. I'm just hoping it'll make a comeback, kind of like Wicked City did.
All right. Um, so I can't. I remember this being a movie, but I believe it was made into a series. And this is probably like early 2000s. Afro Samurai.
Hmm.
So this one's definitely more on the modern edge of anime and what it was becoming as we rounded the corner into 2000s. And Samuel L. Jackson did the voice for the samurai. RZA was in this. RZA helped navigate and point this in the right direction too. So there's a lot of amazing aspects to this film because it's anime. It's got aspects of samurai. It's got Wu Tang elements. So all the aspects of it made me fall in love with it deeper and deeper. I just got the two. They just released two of the Funkos for it, so I scooped those up as soon as they came out because they were just amazing. I'll do that one, and then the other one. I don't know if you remember this one. This one's a great sci-fi flick. It's from 1989. It's called Venus Wars, and Venus Wars was another one that was just amazing imagery. These crazy, like, you kind of definitely could see that it being an 89 anime, that it definitely pulled from what Macross Saga and Robotech were doing, because it was just splendid. It was amazing in that regard.
Yeah, I remember that one. Um, so I've got a couple more. I'll just go and finish mine off. So Demon City, that was another one. I think it's become a little obscure, so I'm hoping that one makes a comeback. So Demon City, if you can track that one down, that was another one from the '80s, early '90s that I really, really loved. Um, the original. Street Fighter 2 the movie.
This
That
is
was that was such a fun fucking movie, and the soundtrack was incredible because they did like a whole metal soundtrack to that one.
so depending on who you talk to, that is actually held to such a high regard that it's I think it's was told it had the title of the best film adaptation of a video game from an animated standpoint of all time.
Oh,
That was what it
yeah,
was voted.
I agree. And that original Street Fighter 2 the movie was so fucking good. Um, last one, and kind of an anime, not really, but I'm gonna throw it out there because they keep pumping these things out, and it comes from Japan. All these Resident Evil animated CGI movies, like some of the CGI is crap in them, but man, some of these movies, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, some of these stories in these are actually pretty fun once you get past like the slow burn starts in them. So like, there's a whole bunch of those out there. So
You know what's funny is I just was not just recently, but like maybe like within the last couple of years, maybe it was during pandemic. I don't even remember, but I was watching reels, and the reels happened to start popping up of the Nemesis sequences in some of these
mhm.
animations, and I was like, this is real. This is a movie. I got to check this out because
Yeah.
they're. I was like, no way, because everything you see from the trailers, they just kind of look cheesy, look bad.
Hmm.
Some of them almost remind me of like the Beast Wars animation, if you
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
straight computer, but because it's got good story, it's solid.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
I like that. I agree with that.
Yeah. Some of the animation on some of those older ones, especially, were kind of you said Beast Wars, but I always thought the Starship Troopers anime
Mhm.
series, the Roughnecks.
So I don't mean to get off topic from anime here, but I do want to mention something here. You just reminded me of something. The more I see the trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu, how fucking hard are they ripping off of fucking Starship Troopers? They're trying to do that propaganda spiel, and it's pissing me off. I don't know why.
I
I,
noticed that. Yeah.
I'm concerned about this movie. I have high hopes, and it was on my most anticipated. But I still feel like as I see these trailers drop, that we're gonna get a steaming pile of shit that's going to be uh, uh, basically what could have been another season. So I'm just kind
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah, that's my worry with them doing a Mandalorian Grogu movie from the start was like, does this need a movie or should it just be another season? Because and that's what I'm feeling seeing this, and I'm hoping I go into this movie wrong with that opinion, but I feel like that's what it's going to turn into.
there's a lot of cool Easter eggs that made me happy, especially Zeb. But
Yeah.
outside of that, yeah, I'm still worried. All right, so finishing out my honorable mentions, I've actually got a handful of them. So there's a specific movie in the Evangelion series, The End is what it's called. And I swear to God, they won't let that series die, by the way, because I keep seeing more movies pop up that I'm like, wait, what? Is there really another one? And everyone's like it's like it's alluding to the end, but it never like lets the end happen. But that movie was spectacular. And the whole series, if you haven't seen Neon Genesis, please, please go watch it. If you're a true
Mhm.
anime fan and you have not seen it, you're missing out. It blew my mind. I'll give my boy Chris Schaefer the props for that too, because he loaned me the entire series to watch and I loved it. Um, let's see, what else do I got here? Rurouni Kenshin, Trust and Betrayal. This one was an amazing anime film that kind of shows how Rurouni gets his scars. It shows how everything builds up, how he comes to be who he is. It's kind of like his backstory a little bit. So if you're a Rurouni fan, there you go. Um, my favorite series of all time for anime, it's a series I'm talking about, but it does have a movie, is Trigun. So the Trigun movie's not the greatest, but because the series is so fucking good, it's spectacular. So I love it in that regard. So I recommend anyone try that out. Um, two more. Appleseed. You remember Appleseed?
I like
That
Appleseed.
was another one. Yeah, that one had cool like Robotech type robots as well,
Hmm.
mech suits. I love all that stuff. That stuff I could do that for hours. You know, Gundam is in that vein too.
Yeah, it
Just
was.
so good.
I was gonna say I'm a massive Gundam Wing fan. I love Gundam, and so like you know, I get it.
Yeah, and then my last one is a weird one because this is definitely more modern animation and it's more digital animation, but it started as a video game on my PlayStation. Onimusha. Onimusha. I used to love running around saying that. I don't know why, but
I,
uh,
I have all those on my Switch, and I play those on tour all the time.
dude, Onimusha is such a good video game series. I love it. It's just a good like hack and slash with the orbs and the whole bit. And then they made it into a series for Netflix, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. So if you are a fan of Onimusha, or a fan of ninjas and samurais, zombies, whatever, sorcery and feudal Japan, check it out. It's worth it. That's all I got.
All righty. All right. Not sure what we're releasing next week.
A movie.
A movie. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to be doing in the pipeline, and I don't want to actually tell on the end of the episode because I may shuffle some of these episodes around. Because we are going to do some more episodes with Tiff. She's going to come in and do a couple more episodes with us, and we're going to film a couple more episodes tonight. And so I don't want to say I'll be posting. So follow our socials. Go back to that. Follow our socials so you'll know like tomorrow what's coming out for next Thursday. What we decide. That way I can shuffle stuff around if I need to. So I hate to do that to you guys, but that's what I'm doing. So until next time, later.
Later.